Hello, this is Alertwolf here. I'm going to bring you another review. This one is of Sword Art Online, episode 24. And this one's called The Gilded Hero. Now, this episode begins with Kirito and Yui teleport into the tree. When they get to the tree, she says there's no system map, but she can sense where Mommy is. So she just starts taking out walls, and they're beelining right there. They finally make it outside. He's like, I'm gonna get this dude. He lied. This whole game was a lie. He's super pissed off at everything. And she's like, come on, we gotta get Mom. So they go to the cage. Yui deletes the door. She gives Mom a big hug. They're right there, and it's a touching reunion. And right when they're about to get, now it's Kirito's turn for a hug, this gravity thing pushes them down to the floor. The space changes. It's like they fall into another space. And here comes Lord Fairy King Oberon, the douche, right? And first, as they enter the space, Yui gets deleted, I think. That's how it looks. And so she gets deleted. Then they're pinned down anyway. They can't move. He comes down, takes Kirito's sword, Fairy King Oberon, the douche. And he ties up Asuna with chains that descend from nowhere. And he turns down some of the pain absorbing and stabs Kirito through the chest, like so, from the back. It just comes out. So he's pinned to the floor. Then he starts talking all the smack and he mentions how the 300 people were taken from Sword Art Online. They were volunteers. They're survivors from Sword Art Online. And this leads me to think these were the people that I remember at the beginning of this half of the season. Suguru was talking to Kirito in the real world. And she had mentioned that there was a special school for people just from Sword Art Online. So I think this is where those people came from. So then, basically, he starts fondling her. He rips off her clothes. Her tits are exposed. He starts fondling the boobs. She starts crying. He licks up the tears. He's like, good, I want you to fight. He goes, you know what? And after we're done, I'll link in a video for you, and I'll rape you in the real world and have you watch. This is the type of fucked up shit this guy's about to do. It's getting straight up like a hentai in here, because he's inappropriately rubbing her and going, and he starts to go downstairs, and all of a sudden Kirito, he tries to get up, and he just can't do it. And then Kirito gets almost taken to another room, but it's in his head, basically. That's the way I'll describe it. And the creator of the game comes out, Heathcliff, as his game character's called. And he's yelling at Kirito. He's like, what the hell are you doing sitting on the floor? You're not the same dude I had this epic battle with. Come on, you should be able to take this guy. And Kirito's like, he's a GM and I'm a player. What can I do? Just, what do you mean, what can you do? This is a stolen world. He stole this world. This is the world you kicked ass in. What are you talking about? Because you showed me the power of the human will, right? And do it again. This guy's nothing. And so the pep talk over, his view goes back to the view of the current situation, and what's his face is about to start munching on some carpet, man, and he's about to lick the vagina. This is what's going down. I'm sorry for the graphicness of this review, but he is straight up gonna do this to Asuna. He's gonna rape her. It's going down. And then Kirito gets up. He gets up like it was nothing. Because it is nothing. You know, this isn't Sword Art Online. You know? Kirito gets up, the sword falls off, and Oberon stops what he's doing. He's like, oh, I guess there's bugs in the system. And Oberon is about to do some administrative shit when Kirito starts doing some administrative shit. He's like, system log on, and he starts spitting out codes. And he logs on as Heathcliff. And he gets full administrative, like little screens appear all around him. And then he's like, what? Who do you think you are? And so he's like, I'm the king of this world. So Oberon goes to something. And then Kirito goes, Oberon delete. And basically, he deletes Oberon's administrative access to the game. He's like, what? You outranked me? Nobody's supposed to outrank me. He goes, oh no, this is his. He's always taking the things that I want. Talking about the creator of the game. And this is the creator of the game's thing. Kirito's like, listen, you were a king of a stolen kingdom. A kingdom of thieves. That's all you are. You know, basically saying he stole this world. And Kirito's like, and I'm the gilded hero. You know what I mean? Technically, Kirito's the champion of this world, you know? So, you know, Oberon panics. He tries to call for Excalibur. Excalibur does not descend. He goes, wait a minute, all you have to do is say this, and Excalibur comes? So he says it. He uses the same code. He gets Excalibur. He's like, here you go. Something to fight with. Kirito picks up his sword. He turns the pain level down, the absorbers down to 0, meaning it's straight up Sword Art Online, no safeties. And then they start to fight. Now, Oberon is no Heathcliff. Shit. Oberon is barely like, he's a noob, you know? So he tries to fight, nothing. Kirito barely moves, just blocks it. Kirito cuts him in the face. He's like, oh, that hurt. He's like, yes, it does hurt. It did hurt. But then you've been hurting Asuna this whole time, haven't you? So then he cuts off. Oberon's hand that held the sword. It was like right off. Oberon's screaming in pain. He's like, yeah, it hurt, didn't it? Oberon tries to get back up, and then Kirito cuts him from here down. Actually, up. That's exactly here down, and cuts him in half. And his other half of the body deletes. He picks him up by his head. He looks him in the eye, throws him up in the air. Kirito epically thrusts up with the sword. The dude lands on his sword face first, and it's like a shower of blood. It is the most epic scene in this episode. Finally, this son of a bitch gets what's coming to him, and he dematerialized, deletes. It's over. And this dude is dead, by the way. He is dead. This is Sword Art Online rules right now. He just died in the game. Kirito killed this motherfucker. Yes. Then he releases Asuna. They have a big hug. Kirito starts to cry. She's like, then she goes, I always knew you would save me. You always do. And he's like, I'm just a regular dude, but I'll try whatever I can. But it's finally over. So he logs out everybody, and then he logs her out. Like the other three, you know, the 300 people that have been held captive. And he logs her out. And she's like, I can't wait to see you in the real world. And, you know, he says the same. And he's like, it's over. Now he's just standing in the blank space. It's finally over. Or is it? And he calls out for the creator of the game. The creator of the game shows up. And he's like, is it over? And he's like, nah, well, that's up to you. He goes, but as of now, it's over. But he's like, I have something to give you, Kirito. And basically the motivation of the creator of the game, even though he said it, forgot it, is he wanted to test the limits of the human will in the game world and to see if they could transcend reality. You know, basically he wanted to create a Neo to the Matrix. And Kirito says to him, are you alive? Like, so you're still alive? He's like, no, I'm an after image. I'm just a reflection of what's left. Basically, he's like a copy of the creator of the game. I mean, I don't know if you watched Ghost in the Shell. He's a ghost without a shell. That's what he is. So he gives Kirito a world seed, he calls it. He goes, this is a seed to a new world. Basically, it's a seed to a new game. He's like, when it sprouts and takes root, it's up to you to decide what to do with it. You could either nourish it, or you could delete it if you still harbor hatred for this world. But I don't think you will. And then he goes to leave, and he's like, hopefully we'll see each other again. When he leaves, the game space returns to normal, so it's back to being the cage. And then Kirito calls for Yui. Yui appears, so she wasn't deleted. He goes, how did you survive? She's like, and he says, you know, she asks what happened to mommy. He's like, don't worry, she woke up in the real world, everything's good. And so she starts to cry. She's like, oh yes. And she's like, so where's so how did you live? She goes, well, I downloaded myself to your Netgear, the Nerve Gear, not Netgear, that would be a router, but Nerve Gear, and now I'm a part of that. Because he's like, what happens when I leave this world? What will happen to it? She goes, well, don't worry, because now that I've downloaded myself to there, I'm permanent. Like, she's downloaded himself to his computer, basically. So she's saved over there. And he's like, all right. He's like, don't worry. She goes, don't worry, I'll be with you always, Papa. And then he's like, all right, we'll come and visit you soon. So he locks out, finally. There's Suguru waiting for him. And she starts to cry a little. And he's like, don't worry, everything's finished. Everything is done. Meaning he doesn't have to go back to the game world if he doesn't want to. And she asks if he saved Asuna. He goes, yeah, he did. And she goes, you gotta go see her. Go see her right now. So he hops on his bike. It's at night. It's starting to snow. And she goes, go. And then he leaves. He's like, don't worry, I'll introduce you to her for real. Soon. So, and that's how the episode ends. He's pedaling to go there. The next episode is going to be called World Seed. So hopefully we get a nice wrap up. It's maybe sets it up for the next game, and hopefully they animate that next light novel for the next game. That would be cool. So what did I think of this episode? I thought this episode was a 4 out of 5. I mean, it was great. It wasn't epic. It wasn't amazing, but it was great. And it had a lot of emotional scenes in it. You know, seeing Asuna seeing Yui still alive, the near rape of Asuna while Kirito's there left helpless, the anguish that caused, seeing the creator of the game come back and basically give Kirito a pep talk, and watching Kirito kill Oberon, that son of a bitch, was great. And then, sending Asuna home, finally. She gets to wake up, and then seeing Yui afterwards, and being given the gift. The whole thing was great. So I just loved it. I've loved this series thus far. I think this is one of the few series that you can blend, that you can sit down with your girl and watch, because it's the right blend of action, drama, romance, suspense. It's a good blend. So, it has those elements. So there's enough that pretty much anybody can sit down and watch this. Sci-fi too, and then mystical stuff. Like it's just really good. It's a really good balance. The female characters are done really well. Asuna's one of the best female characters I think that I've seen in recent anime. I love Lifa or Suguru, and actually, I always thought Suguru was cute as hell, man. She's my favorite of the chicks, but although Asuna's character is great. So, so yeah, 4 out of 5. And this series is probably going to be a 5 out of 5 for me, but I'll get that on the next review. So can't wait to see how they wrap this up, and looking forward to next week. So click it up if you like it, comment if you must, subscribe if you can, and this is alertwolf signing out.